Alrighty, guys, so today we're going to talk about simple and compound interest, okay? Because this is one way of saving money. You invest some money and it'll earn interest while it's sitting in there. Um, so we're going to look at two different ways to do it, and all of it's going to be involved on a calculator. So what I would recommend is you all either use an online graphing calculator like a Desmos, or an online calculator like Desmos, or you can use the graphing calculator that was put on your Chromebooks by the district. Okay, I'm going to show you on the graphing calculator like this. So I would use the one on your Chromebook. Okay. As your chapter 2 reading should have told you, interest is the money that the principal earns. And remember, principal is the original amount invested. And then we talk about compound interest. That's interest that you're going to get paid on interest that you've already earned. Like it's more interest on top of more interest. Okay? We got two formulas. There's simple interest and then compound interest. I'm going to tell you what all this stuff means, and then we're going to use them. All right, so FV is the future value. That's what we're going to find. PV is the present value. And that's always going to be what you invest. It's going to be your principal. Okay? R is the rate, the interest rate, as a decimal. Okay? Your interest rates are always going to be written as a percent, so you're going to have to change it to a decimal in order to use the formula. And then T is going to be time, how long you invest it, and it's always in years. Okay? I've got the simple interest problems underneath the simple interest column, so let's do those first, and then we're going to do compound. Okay? Okay, simple interest. And the reason you know to use simple interest, unless I don't tell you, see how, like over here, these say compounded, whatever. If you don't see compounded, that's your clue to use simple interest, okay? So $5,000 at 9% for 8 years. So we're going to use the simple interest. So let's find out all the stuff we need, okay? The 5,000 is going to be our PV. We know that. 9% is the rate. That's your R. And then T is going to be your time. Okay? 9%. We have to change that to a decimal first. So there's a decimal point behind the 9. We move this point to the left 2. You should remember that. And then a 0 goes in front of 9 and a 0 in front of the decimal. So this is going to be 0.09 is the decimal we have to use. So now let's fill in the formula. Future value is going to be 5,000 times 1 plus 0.09 times the time of 8 years. So let's see how to type that in. 5,000 parentheses 1 plus 0.09 times 8. Boom, there you go. 8,600. And since we're talking about money, we're going to write this like money. All right, so the other one. $250 at 6.2% for 5.5 years. So 250 is obviously the present value. There's our rate and our time. So 6.2. And sometimes your interest rates are, a lot of times your interest rates are as decimals. Remember, we take this decimal point and move it once, twice, put it back. So this is going to be 0.062. And yes, you have to write it just like that. Now, 5.5 years, so we can write this as 5.5 years, just so we know we have to use decimals. Now, use our formula. Future value, 250 times 1 plus 0.062 times 5.5. And these big dots right here, remember, that's a way to show multiplication. 250 times 1 plus 0.062 times 5.5. Answer is always money, so it's $335.25. Now, just so you know what we're doing here, this is the end amount that the money is worth after you've invested it for so long. The interest that you would earn would be the difference between this and the 250. So like if I still have to take my answer and I subtract 250, it's $85.25. That's the interest you've earned on this problem. Okay? It's just added to the original amount. Now let's look at compound interest. Now its formula is a little bit more complicated, but it's not hard. This is still the future. And that's still the present. R is still the rate as a decimal. Now we have this N to deal with. N is the number of I like to say it this way, number of compounds per year. It's how many times you're going to earn extra interest per year, okay? And I'll talk about what kinds you could see here in a little bit. And then T is still time in years. All right? Now it says compounded. That's your clue to use the compound interest formula. So we're going to invest $1,100 at 7% compounded semi-annually for 10 years. So let's look at what we know. This is the present value. That's our rate. T is our time. And compounded semi-annually, this is going to be your N, okay? Then you have to figure out how many compounds per year that is. So there's all different kinds of compounds you could do. There's annually, which is one time a year. So if it said just annually, we would put 1 as our N. There's semi-annually, like we've got here, and that always means 2. So twice a year, you get compounded. Then there's like quarterly, which is what we have down here. And I like to think of that as how many quarters are in a dollar. That would be 4. So if you see compounded quarterly, your N is going to be 4. Okay? And then there's like monthly. So then how many months are in the year? That's 12. So N would be 12. And then there's some that are higher, like there's weekly and then daily. I don't think you have any that high. But if you do, just remember how many weeks are in a year and how many days are in a year. That's what you'd have to do. All right, let's fill this in now with our formula. So future value equals present, big parenthesis, 1 plus our rate. Now, our rate was 7, so we have to move the decimal point 1, 2. So that's 0.07. So 0.07. Your rate over your n, which is the number of compounds. So here we're going to put 2. Okay, and then out here as an exponent, it's your n times your t. So our n was 2 times, what was our t? 10. All right. Now this looks scary, but with this graphing calculator right here, you can type all this in at once and it just spits out your answer nice and easy for you. So I'm going to show you how to type it in. So 1100 parenthesis 1 plus. Now hopefully you remember this from when you did algebra last year. To get a fraction on this kind of calculator, you have to hit this green alpha key, then hit the y equals button, and then you want to hit enter on this first option, n over d. And then you can type your fraction like you see here. 0.07, come down, put your 2, and then arrow to the right out of there. Put your parenthesis. And now to make this exponent, we want to hit this little caret key right here. I call it a caret, but whatever. And then type in what's up there. 2 times 10. Okay, and then you just hit enter. So it looks like we'll earn, whoops, $2,188. And now this is money, so you'll have to round it. So to round it, you're going to go to the second place, look behind it. If that's 5 or bigger, we round it up. So go to 6, look behind it. That's bigger than 5, so the 6 becomes a 7. And there's how much end balance will be. All right. And you're probably thinking, why is he showing us this? Well, if you ever decide to invest some money and it's going to be in a compound interest situation, it's handy to use this formula to see how much money you could earn after your investment. It's easier to do it yourself than have somebody else do it, I think. But. All right, let's do it again. $540 at 2.8% compounded quarterly for 15 years. So the 540 is the present value. 2.8 is your rate. Compounded quarterly, that's your N. How many quarters are in a year? That'd be 4, like 4 quarters in a dollar. And then T is 15. Let's change our rate. 2.8 once, twice, and a decimal 0. So that our rate is 0.028. Right, now we're ready to fill it in. Future value is the present value, 540, times 1 plus your rate is 0.028 over your n, which is 4. Close your parenthesis, make an exponent, 4, which is your n, times the time of 15. All right, now we use this to type it in. 540 times 1 plus, now I got to write my fraction, so remember it's alpha y, hit enter, 0.028, come down, put your 4, arrow to the right, put your parenthesis, raise to your exponent, 4 times 15 and hit enter. So we end up with 8. Whoops, that's a terrible 8. $820. I'm gonna have to round it. So go to the second one, which is a 5. Look behind it. That's bigger than 5, so the 5 will round up to a 6. There we go. So you've got your simple interest formula, and I've showed you 2 of those. You got your compound interest formula with everything laid out for you, and 2 of those. All right. That's all I got. If you run into problems or need help, please let me know.